right? So if you flip this Pareto principle around, that you spend 80% of your time is spent on more productive things that actually will move the needle in your life, your career, your family, your goals. And then the 20% is your downtime that, you used to just play around, hang around, that kind of thing. You would experience a whole different world. In this episode, we're going to talk about the top 10 skills every young graduate must learn. They are difficult to learn though, but when you do, the payoff is forever. Let's get into the weeds of it. The first one is learn how to be confident. Confidence is almost like a muscle that needs to be exercised on a daily basis. People who come across as confident tend to get a lot more things done faster. I bet to say that 90%, if not even up to 99%, of all serial entrepreneurs have a knack for high degree of confidence. Confidence is having that belief in yourself or belief in a project, or that innate can-do attitude within your heart. It's not something within your head, but it's way deep down inside of you that I can get this done. Confidence is super key. I noticed, one of the things I noticed when I spend a great deal of time globetrotting, is especially one of the things I observe with American kids or young people in America. Young people in America have got an innate baked confidence in them. You get to meetings, you have work colleagues that you're meeting, where you realize that most of them, or even some of them, don't even know what they are talking about. But they talk about whatever they want to talk about with such confidence that at the end of the day, we who think we know get convinced by the people who really do not know it. I don't know if you've ever sat in a room like that. People are talking so confidently about a subject that the substance is very, very little, and yet they tend to actually grow up quickly on the career ladder. Confidence is important. You can know everything, and if you don't project confidence, you will be marking time. Confidence is a function, so say, okay, how do I get confident? Confidence is a function most of the time of expertise or experience. The longer you do things, the more confident you become. I remember the first time I went to work for a company called My Travel in Manchester, UK, and I went to work in the finance division, and I noticed that I was a very studious person, so I knew a lot, but I wasn't confident at all. And I remember we walked to a meeting, and it's like, wow, I have butterflies in my stomach and everything. It's like, oh, I don't even know what I'm going to say, right? And yet I saw young guys, younger than me, who don't have even half of my qualification, solving problems, talking about projects they are working on very easily and things. I say, wow, when am I ever going to get to do this? Then I gave myself probably about 4 or 5 months. I gained mastery over what my tasks were at the office. And that time around, when we went for meetings, I was like the master of the show. Then I got to learn that confidence actually is a function of expertise. So that's why I say it's like a muscle. You need to, so every day that you are practicing, whatever you are doing, don't stop practicing. Every day get better at what you're doing. As you get better, you begin to see that your confidence levels are rising. Some people are well endowed, that it's probably in their genetics or whatever it is, but for most of us, we have to work to get to that higher level of confidence in ourselves. For most of us, if you came typically from deprived background and that kind of thing, you tend to think that you don't have a voice. But confidence it comes as you begin to gain mastery over the things that concerns you or the things that you care about. Number 2, learn to speak up. Learn to speak up. I think we can juxtapose from where we are the confidence to learning to speak up. If you have confidence, you will know how to speak up. If you are less confident, you are less likely to speak up in situations. And in speaking up, this is a skill that everybody must learn, especially public speaking. Public speaking is an art. You can learn it. You can learn the mechanics of it, the theory of it, but nothing beats acquiring public speaking skills than actually speaking publicly. So you're going to have to let yourself out there. I know it's scary. It can be very scary, can be nerve-wracking and things, but the best way to acquire public speaking skills is to speak publicly. So take every opportunity that comes. That gives you every opportunity that provides a window for you to speak publicly. So if you need to join a local Toastmasters club, join the local Toastmasters club. Then you are learning how to speak publicly. This is crucial. This skill is so crucial that that particular skill of public speaking can actually make or unmake your career, especially if you want to excel at the higher, very high end of your career. At the very, very high end of your career, it's not about your technical skills or computer skills. It's about, most of the time, your ability to communicate, especially publicly. So if you need to volunteer to go and speak to a group of young people in schools, in churches, see that as an opportunity. Because public speaking, just like confidence, is a muscle. The more you do it, the better you become at it. The more you do it, the sharper you become at it. Public speaking. The third is learn how to listen. This is a trap that many people fall into. People like to talk far more than they listen. They like to impress by what they say. But the best skill to develop as you begin to progress in your career is listen more than you talk. God in his wisdom gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. God was strategic. What that means is that we have to listen more than we talk. The greatest leaders of our time, some of the greatest listeners, they will sit down, rest their cheeks on their palm and be listening. And be listening. And be listening. I hear that the greatest leaders of our time are always the last to speak in the room. Why? You get the benefit of knowing what everybody else's opinion is before you start speaking. You get to know people's minds before you start telling about what is in your mind. And that is awesome. That gives you fresh perspective. That makes you have the ability to synthesize everybody's point of view to come with your point of view, and that makes your point of view richer. The key part of listening is that as you listen without judgment. If you agree with the person speaking, you don't nod your head. If you disagree, you don't shake your head. You just listen. And at a minimum, if something is not clear, you raise your hands to ask more questions to clarify their point. And you tend to try to see it more from their point of view. Maybe they raised an issue or came up with a point. Try to understand from where they are coming from, their background, their experiences. Try to understand first. And then after you've done that, then your time will come. The stage will come to you. And people who have listened well tend to give richer answers. And when you give your answer, likely people will just in their heart say, wow, we didn't see that coming. That is amazing. And the next time, they would want to hear from you. But if you rush and you are always the first, you are like an empty noise. So, the point is, listen more than you speak. Number 4, learn to manage your time. Time management is crucial. It's crucial. This is something that rich people, poor people, skinny people, fat people, temperamental people, calm people, every person in life has in common. All of us have got a set amount of time every day. Nothing more, nothing less. It all depends on, are you using your time wisely? I heard this the other day from a preacher. He said, look, I have a car, I have some jewelry in the house, I have phones, I have expensive things at home and at the office and everything. I can lose all of them. I can lose my car, I'll get a new one because cars are replaceable. I can even lose my home. I will find a way to get a new place to put my head and my family's head. I can lose my jewelry. Yes, I'll work maybe and get some money and buy a new set of jewelry. Everything in life is almost replaceable. The only thing that is not replaceable, actually, two things that are irreplaceable in your life, actually. And then time. Once time is spent, it doesn't come back. You can't get it back. It's gone, and it's gone forever. So, smart people tend to invest their time. Successful people learn time management. There's always the risk that we interpret we being busy, we utilizing our time. When most of the time it's inaccurate. You can be busy doing the wrong things. You can be busy investing your time doing unproductive things, things that won't take you nowhere. Right? So for instance, you are busy. Maybe you are at the office. But actually, the time that you're actually working, you only, of the 8 hours that you are in the office, you probably effectively, if you were to time clock or time check yourself, effectively you probably may have spent just 3 hours in the day working. Right? And the other 5 hours, you probably may have been interrupted many times and checking things on social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and all. It's like it just sucks you into it. And phone calls from friends and this and that. It's like everybody else is craving for your attention. Everyone is sucking a piece of your time, sucking a piece of you, and you end up being unproductive. I've always I read this somewhere, the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule. Then in time management, this same Pareto principle applies in the sense that most people spend 80% of their time doing unproductive things. Like they wake up in the morning, the first thing they're doing is checking their social media accounts. And it sets their day, because the day is not being planned well, programmed well, it sets their day haphazardly. By the time you realize you've been scrolling and scrolling, you pick your phone and scroll and scroll and scroll, you would have spent maybe about an hour of your morning scrolling. That brings you, nothing. Commenting, another craze that has come is WhatsApp groups. So you join a series of WhatsApp groups, your school WhatsApp group, your acquaintances WhatsApp group, maybe family WhatsApp group, and this WhatsApp group, that WhatsApp group. And because your time is not structured, you always see yourself being sucked into it. Sucked in. By the time the end of the day comes, you realize you have achieved very little. Right? So if you flip this Pareto principle around, that you spend 80% of your time is spent on more productive things that actually will move the needle in your life, your career, your family, your goals. And then the 20% is your downtime that, you used to just play around, hang around, that kind of thing. You would experience a whole different world. So time management. Remember, time, when it goes, it never comes back. The fifth point that I would say is that you're going to have to track and measure everything. Track and measure. And this goes with time management. Track and measure. Track and measure. This skill is so important. I learned this skill from Grant Cardone, Mr. 10X. Measure everything. Grant is one of the most successful real estate investors of all time, or in our generation. One of the top sales people, sales trainers in the world is Grant. Grant is big on measuring everything. So for instance, let's say you work for a company. Every month you're supposed to come up with a report. And then you turn the report in. But this report takes a long time to put together. Maybe it takes 2 weeks. It takes 3 weeks to put together. This is just an example. And it stresses you out. So you kind of try to find better ways of doing it more efficiently or better or whatever it is. Now, when you try to change it, when you try to tweak things, do you go back to measure the effectiveness of the changes that you implemented? Right? Do you go back and say, okay, when I was doing it this way, it was taking me 2 weeks to do it, but when I added X, Y, or Z to it, it's now taking me 3 days to do it, or 4 days. Do you track that? Most people don't track anything, right? If it's a business that you're running, are you tracking how many customers are coming through your door on a daily basis? Are they coming in more on a Fridays than on Mondays? And if you are tracking that, then you'll be able to analyze why do they come in more on Fridays than on Mondays? Right? Is there something in your neighborhood that happens every Friday that makes more people walk through your door, or what? If you are not tracking this, you can't take advantage of opportunities. So have it at the back of your mind that every strategic thing, obviously, you're not going to track everything of your life, but the things that really move a needle in your life, the things that bring progress in your life, the things that your goals, your desires, things, your ambitions, things that you are working on, you have to track them. You have to track them, right? So if it's you're campaigning, or you're sending out marketing brochures and things, are you tracking? How many people are calling because of your brochure? How many people are calling because of this marketing campaign? How many? Track them every day. List them. Okay, I had 5 today. Write them. I had 6 today. I had 7 today. I had 8 today. Over time, look at it and say, okay, wow, I'm tracking this and I'm seeing a trend. What is the trend? Is the trend pointing me to an opportunity, or is pointing me to a flop that I need to avert? You have to track them, right? So that was number 5. So number 6, stop procrastinating. Stop procrastinating. Look, many people are stuck in life because of procrastinating. Procrastination is such a bad habit, and it's so easy to fall in that trap that it can derail your destiny. I heard Dean Graziosi the other day saying that if you were to quantify all the opportunities, both in monetary terms and in other terms, that you've lost because of procrastinating over the past 10 years, what would that ballpark figure, what would that amount be? Right? All opportunities that you probably lost because you were putting things off every day. You put them off, and you never went to them. If you were putting a monetary value, what would they be? And that really got to me. I said, wow, that is serious. So you're gonna have to stop procrastinating. You're gonna have to have a game plan to execute things regardless. The reason why most people procrastinate, because of the fear of failure. the fear of failure. You are afraid that the thing that you are working on may not work. So your heart is not in it. It's like your heart is maybe 50-50 in it. You are not full in and you are not full out. And because of that, there is not that pressure. There's not urgency. And because there's no pressure and there's no urgency, the thing that is important for you to do, you just put it off. Okay, I'll do it next week. I'll do it the week after. Oh, I'll do it next month. Oh, don't worry about it. Why? Because you don't believe in it enough. So how do you circumvent this? Make the pain of not doing it so severe. The pain of not doing it must be so severe, or the reward of doing it must be so huge. You have to project the reward of doing that task, make it bigger so that there's urgency. Okay, I need to study for, I'm just making this, I need to study for maybe SAT to go to a university or to try to get a scholarship, or I need to, if it's a postgraduate program, I need to study for a GMAT or GRE or whatever it is. And you've been putting it off every day, putting it off. Why? Because in your heart of hearts, you don't really believe you can get admission to that school. That's why you put it off there. If you really believe you can do that, you will just sit down and say, look, I'm going to make this happen within the next week. And I'm starting, not today, I'm actually starting from the next minute. Actually, right now. I'm starting right now because I believe in it. Now, what if you amplify the benefit or the end goal? Wow, I want to be one of the top actuarial scientists in the world. I actually want to work on Wall Street as an actuary, working with one of the biggest insurance companies. I want to work for AIG, or I want to work with the Lloyd's Group. I want to do this, I want to do that, and I want to be an actuary for a big insurance firm. And these are the perks that these kind of guys, they go on vacations here, they have mansions here, or they live this kind of luxurious life. Picture that. Actually, find a wall art or image or stick it in your bedroom that you see it every day. This is the lifestyle of actuaries, right? And as you see that every day, that becomes a big goal for you to now say, wow, if I want that on that wall, I need to start doing it now. You won't put it off. The other thing is, you can use what we call social pressure to help you not procrastinate. That means you come with any ambitious goal to do something. Tell your friends, tell your acquaintances, maybe your relatives around you. Tell them, I'm going to go to let's say a school in England, right? Maybe a Heriot-Watt in England, to go and study actuarial science. Next year by this time I will be in school. Next year by this time I'll be in school. Next year by this time I will be at Yale. I want to go to Yale. I want to do it. I've seen a master's program at Yale that's into actuarial science, right? Or pharmacy. I want to be on that program. I want to be on that. But tell everybody, so that when you are fooling around, when you are not using your time productively, those people around you can look at you and say, hey, look, you said you were going to do this. I don't see you putting any time or effort doing that, right? And that would help you. So stop procrastinating. That was number 6, I guess. Number 7, stop complaining. This is a skill you need to learn, because most people complain. Oh man, if only my parents were of this type. If only I had this skill set. If only my skin tone was that color. If only my accent was this. I can't do that. I can't do this. I can't do that. Man, all of that don't do nothing. It just keeps you where you are. But successful people are the ones who say, look, in spite of what I don't have, or in spite of my deficiencies, I'm going to push through anyway. Stop complaining. I think Americans will say, stop whining. Stop complaining. And just do it. Like Nike. Stop the complaint. Nobody wants to listen to your complaint. Look, you complain to a few people. The first day, people may listen a little bit, okay, he's complaining, blah, blah, blah. The first day, second day, okay, this guy, okay. The third day, you start complaining. They say, hey, man, which kind of guy, man, get a heck out of here. They will check you out in their minds, or they will walk out of the door. Nobody wants a whiner or a complainer. People are fascinated by folks who get things done, even in impossible situations. Yes, your parents or your dad may have passed away a few years back. Yes, you had to live in a car. Yes, you had to live in your friend's couch, and you couldn't afford the school fees. Yet, all those things, but your story must be, I went through all of that, and yet I got the job done. So you stop whining. Number 8, be consistent. I've seen this all through and through. I remember recently I had an auto mechanic work on my car, and I had gone through a few auto mechanic issues here and there that, they either wouldn't do the job well, or they overcharge you, or do a lousy job, that kind of thing. So it's like I was exhausted. Then somebody recommended this new mechanic to my wife, and my wife spoke to me about him. So we tried him. The first car, the guy was amazing. He did it. He brought us the car, and everything worked. And the time that he actually promised us, he promised, I think, 3 days to work on the vehicle. He came back a day and a half, which was fantastic. So we asked him to service a second car. The same happened. We had awesome experience. Then we were hooked. We said, wow, this is a different breed of mechanic. And he told us, he would explain everything, why the car wasn't working at an optimal level that we wanted it to work. He would give you all the theory, and then he would tell you how he's going to solve it. And actually he would solve it, which was great. Then we started telling people about him, that, this gentleman, he's good, he's da, right? Then we had a third vehicle sent to him. Then the inconsistency started showing up. He took the car. For 3 days, you call him, he won't even pick up the phone, right? You call him again, he will tell you, I was busy doing that, doing this, doing that, right? Then you push him, he finally brings the car, and you realize that the reason why he took the car away, he actually even hadn't touched it. Then you come with all sort of excuses and all sort of excuses. I mean, you can't even imagine some of the excuses that we had. So you see, he started great, but he couldn't keep that consistency. To have success in life, you have to have a high level of excellence and maintain it there at that level of consistency. Keep it consistent. You can't be successful yesterday and fail today, because what will stick in people's head is the most recent experience they had with you. So if you were consistent for the past 5 years, and all of a sudden you are doing shady jobs or very lousy jobs recently, the only thing people are going to remember is your level of inconsistency. Finally, have empathy. Empathy, to me, my definition of empathy is seeing things from other people's point of view. You always have to have a way that when you are dealing with human beings, have a way to look at things from their point of view. That is why I always say, never discount or never throw away negative, difficult personal experiences, because those are the things that prepare us in life to have an iota or an ounce of empathy in us. Because human beings by nature can be very mean. Human beings, because we easily forget. We easily forget where we came from. We easily forget some of our experiences. So in our case, you can't forget your experience, especially if they were negative, difficult, harsh experiences. Let me give an example. Let me put it this way. I watched the movie Pursuit of Happiness. That was, I think the lead actor was Will Smith. If you've not watched it, go. I recommend you watching that movie. It's very inspiring. So Mr. Gardner was the subject of the movie. Who was came from very terrible background, living in San Francisco, having nothing, selling medical equipment that nobody wanted to buy, and then eventually, living in shelters, and he's homeless with a child, and his wife divorced him, and he had no money, and he and a little boy, his little child, living on the streets, sleeping on public toilets and things. Such a person. And one day he gets a little bit of an opening. He sees that somebody parks a very nice red Ferrari on the streets of San Francisco somewhere, and he just asks the man, "Wow, I'm struggling like this, and somebody is driving this awesome, beautiful car. I just need to find out what they do for a living." So he mustered the courage, went to talk to this gentleman. He went to him and said, "Sir, I'm so fascinated by this car. Please tell me what you do." And the man just said, "Oh, I'm a stockbroker. I'm a trader, basically a stock trader or stockbroker, equities trader, right?" He said, "Wow, what is that?" He told me, "Okay, so this is how it works. We buy stocks and we sell stocks, right? For high net worth clients and things." To cut a long story short, he helped Will Smith get himself in a stock training program, which was not paid for. Which was there was no salary attached to that, and then he, against all odds, managed to complete that program and pass his exam. And then he went on to become, set up his own boutique investment company in America. That was very successful. It's now several millions, or he's now a multi-millionaire, right? He's an African-American man, Mr. Gardner. Now, I'm just putting this story out there. Do you think if Mr. Gardner were to see somebody homeless today on the streets of San Francisco that he grew up in, with the experience that he went through, do you think he's going to be brash with homeless people? Do you think he's going to say, "Hey, look, go fend for yourself, get out from the sidewalk, get out, you smell it, you smell, you stink, go and get some shower"? Do you think that's going to be his attitude? Or his attitude is going to be, "Look, I've been there, man. I've gone through this. It wasn't fun. Therefore, I understand when people are going through things like that." That is what I call empathy. So what I say is that don't throw away the negative experiences, the difficult moments of your life. Don't throw those experiences away. You will need them. And one of the best ways to express your humanity is to project empathy based on your personal experiences. If you don't have personal experiences like that, it's difficult to project empathy. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any comments, if any of these points stuck up to you, or any of these points really registered in you, let me know, and I'll be excited to respond back. In the meantime, subscribe to my channel, and anytime I post any content like this, you'll be the first to know. See you then. Thank you. Bye.